I'm sorry, I'm still in charge. So anyway, so that's the end of my story, I believe. And now we're to, is this you, Bill, or is this, this is something else that was found on the internet, some comment.
No, this is me having to do with temple building. And I have to say thank you, RFM, because I didn't have time to grab video today, but you showed video from almost everything that I need for my stories coming up. So thank you. We're on the...
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen this comment, though. This is a funny comment, but you're right. Of course, it's about temples.
Yeah, it is. And I also saw some people when you were playing that clip of President Nelson talking about being a peacemaker. I saw some comments in the chat saying, oh, yeah, what about Cody? Oh, yeah, what about Heber? So I just love our viewers and listeners who, you know, they are on it. They get it. They see it. So this is funny. Somebody wrote on social media, my favorite part of conference is when Nelson said we need to be peacemaker while he is currently suing 3 cities because he disregards their building codes and zoning laws and refuses to meet to discuss and only uses bullying tactics from lawyers. What a great example of peacemaking. I think a lot of people saw that hypocrisy in the call to be a peacemaker and then seeing what's really happening on the ground, which has to do with temple building. So I very quickly wanted to update us on Fairview because, again, another breaking element to this whole story. We talked about it last time. There's an article here that says lawsuit window closes as Latter-day Saints put forward the plans to Fairview. We have covered this pretty thoroughly as the church did put in its application. And one thing that I thought was really funny that I'll read, it's a quote from, it's a quote from the church spokesman who says, it's a woman in the Fairview area, we are trying to be good neighbors. I don't know how many times they're going to use that phrase. They just use it over and over. We are trying to be good neighbors and we are trying to listen to the community. And honestly, this is the largest concession the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has ever made in a temple situation, said Melissa McNeely, the Latter-day Saint Communications Director for the Dallas East Stake area. And again, I mentioned this last time, but concession, you are the applicant. A concession is being made by Fairview to entertain this application, but you are the applicant. And it is not the biggest. You guys have made major concessions in other countries where the zoning and the laws are locked down and there is no RLUPA. So I thought that was an interesting perspective. The article goes on to just explain what we already know. This new application is a smaller temple, 120 feet, 33,000 foot footprint and smaller walls. To me, that's one of the big wins. Instead of 65 feet walls, 30 to, little over 35 feet walls. That's a huge, huge win. And some of the residents who spoke out in this article said, we're just glad to see things starting. Let's just get started. No matter what it is, let's just get going. This has been going on for quite some time. Now, the breaking news here is I had mentioned, which I had never mentioned before, and I don't think anybody had last week, that the current leadership of the town is turning over in May. There will be a new mayor and there will be 3 new town council members. So that's kind of a big deal because everything they've been dealing with the attorneys and the church have been with this prior leadership. So the church, through their attorneys, asked the town if they would bump up their planning and zoning meeting. Remember how I said last week, this is going to be I think I said it was going to be in May. We'll be covering it. No, the town voted and they agreed that they would try to finish everything with the current leadership. This is a very nice thing for them to do, whereas the church has done a lot of things that aren't so great to the town, but they're like, sure, we'll do this. So we have some new time frames for the planning and zoning meeting and the town council. Again, typically an application comes in, there's a month of due diligence as they study the application, they get the word out that this meeting is happening, and then there's the meeting. Not going to do that this time. Very quickly, they're going to have it in just a couple weeks and then very quickly on to town council. So we will be live streaming this. I think it's going to be open for public comment. And I think we're really going to see something there. The planning and zoning meeting is going to be Thursday, April 24th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We will talk about whether there'll be some pre-show commentary, probably just to get everybody up to speed. And then the town council is going to be on Tuesday, April 29th. So everybody look for that. But that's the breaking news. The town has graciously agreed to move forward the process so that they can deal with the current leadership who they've been dealing with the whole time. Any comments on that before I go to some other temple news?
It's going along just as I predicted. That's all I want to say. It actually
is.
And if it continues to end up as I predicted, then it will just go through and it will be approved and they'll start building.
And they'll start building. Yep. It'll be interesting to see the rest of the application because they still haven't addressed anything like the lighting or the parking or the sewage or, traffic studies, all that kind of stuff. So this is all going to have to very quickly be put together in the next couple of weeks so the town can look through it and then talk about it in planning and zoning.
It will, but I would think that if it had already been approved, all those aspects with a larger temple, that it would be easy because all those numbers, I guess, would be smaller.
I don't even know if they got that far in their original applications. So we'll have to see what happens. But there's going to be a lot of discussion and there's going to be a lot of public comment. So here I thought this was very, very interesting, talking about temple construction, because as you mentioned, RFM, there were 15 new temples announced, taking it up to 200 temples announced by President Nelson. That is off the charts. I don't even know what adjective I can use for that. So somebody on social media, I thought, crystallized this very well. They said there is a 195-year temple construction backlog on temples. As of April 2025, the church has announced 382 temples for its stated 17 million members. For reference, and this is very funny, it's a comparison to Sam's Club. There are 599 Sam's Clubs in the United States with a population of 340 million. And everyone can go to Sam's Club. Well, you have to buy a little membership, but everyone can go. In Utah, there are 4 times as many temples as Sam's Club's locations. Like I told you, in that one particular area, there are 16 temples all within, that radius, within an hour radius, right next to each other. 31 temples in some phases versus 8 Sam's Club. The Sam's Club ratio and the temple ratio don't make any sense. What else is going on? And consider that only 194 of those temples have been built. And that's where this graph, if you look at that over on the other side, since the church started 195 years ago, this leaves a temple construction backlog of 188 temples, or almost half, meaning the backlog is roughly equal to the total number of temples the church has managed to build in the last 195 years combined. And this tracks with what a former church architect, Laura Lee Hall, has told us, that the infrastructure of the church still only allows it to build like maybe 8 temples a year. There's some overlap, the building and then the dedication. I think 16 temples were dedicated this year, but they just don't have it there to mass produce. And if you look at this really interesting graph, you can see the light blue, the aqua blue are temples that have been announced. And then it goes into site chosen, rendering, put out. The stats are just really interesting. No one really needs to announce another temple, I think, going forward.
Why does he?
What?
Bill, why do you think he does then?
Do you know why President Nelson? 3 words. Gordon Hinckley.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. You're not wrong on that, I think. And I have a little slide on that here. So here are the temples that were announced here, some in other countries, some in the United States. And instantly, social media was abuzz about all these. And I have to say, I'm really proud of everybody. You get it. You get temple building. You understand what this is, and you understand what you need to do. So here's somebody who said, I live in Flagstaff. A temple was announced in Flagstaff, Arizona now, and I'm heartbroken to hear them announce the temple there. Flagstaff was the first dark sky city and has a world-class observatory where Pluto was discovered. I mean, sure, it's been undiscovered now, but it was originally discovered there. The Navy has an observatory here as well. So hopefully this makes it difficult on the church to build here. Flagstaff is one of the most beautiful places on earth, and the entire vibe of the city will be thrown off with a gaudy Mormon monstrosity. I knew it was coming, and I'd been dreading this day. I am so sad for my beautiful city. There are Mormons here, but definitely not enough for a temple. Luckily, Flagstaff is very liberal and very protective of the forests around us and the dark skies we enjoy. People here hate anything that messes with Flagstaff's vibe. People here also love to protest. Although the church has unlimited money and lawyers, I hope the people of Flagstaff can make this process hell for the church. They will fight harder and louder than Texas. Like, this came out minutes after the announcement. People are already seeing this for what it is. Here's something about, here's a list to answer. Oh, here's something about the Spanish Force. Let's see. Let me go back one. Did I leave something out? Okay. Yes. The Greenville, South Carolina. Somebody on social media says, ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha.
I think you missed a ha.
Ha. I was going to do it. Ha. Okay. We have one stake center in the area and only one, and that's falling apart. And it's shared between two stakes. There are people who are closer to the temple in Colombia than to their own stake center. Our building is falling apart and it floods every year. Right now, people are losing their shit in excitement on social media. So again, here is the reality of where these temples are going to be built. Somebody had a comment on the Spanish Fork Temple. This person says, there's a small firefly population in Spanish Fork, and their biggest threat is light pollution. I don't even care if they build a temple there. I just hope they can tame their egos and not harm the wildlife. And I know they're talking through the lighting with unnecessary light pollution. And then somebody put together a really nice list. Again, these are just coming out just like this after the announcement to the temple. And I think this person really hit it on the head, kind of what Bill was saying. Why? Why are they doing this? Why announce so many? Number one, it furthers the interest of the real estate holding company that pretends to be a church. Number two, it helps prove that they are spending their wealth on religious activities instead of just investing in the stock market. Number three, it acts as a reminder to members in these areas that they need to pay their tithing. And that's extremely important. Lock everybody down. You've got a couple years of excitement and guilt trips while the temple is being built in your area. Number four, it gives the members the illusion of growth to distract them from the shrinkage they are personally seeing in their areas. And I think that's also very true. And it makes President Nelson feel superior to his rival, President Hinckley, because deep down, anyway, it goes on from there.
He is just a petty old man consumed with grievances.
Yes, exactly. I was trying, to be nicer. Here on the left in Rapid City, they say they've already got a temple. This is called the Chapel on the Hill, and it is a gorgeous recreation of a temple from Norway. Absolutely beautiful. So in Rapid City, they're saying, no, we've got it. We've already got it. So just interesting commentary as soon as they've announced these temples. And I've even seen in social media, people are sharing the city email address for Flagstaff. And they're saying, let's write the city. Let's just mention this is in the works. Let's just tell them to be on guard. So absolutely fascinating to see the awareness now of what temple building is and, some of the things that it puts these towns through. So I was really proud of everybody. I thought it was great.
It is great. And my prediction for next General Conference, the first prediction for October 2025 is that they will stop announcing their temples.
That is a very big possibility. I don't know if they will or won't, but as a final slide on temples, I thought this was really interesting. It was in Kona. Of course, we all know the hands-off protest was over the weekend. And this says, hey, friends, we're going to meet at the Mormon temple. Bring your sunscreen. Somehow they're holding their hands-off protest in front of the LDS temple. I don't know why. I just thought that was really interesting.
Well, maybe it's just a landmark.
It could be, or maybe they equate members of the church as being more supportive of that agenda. I don't know, but I thought that was really funny. Hey, all, let's meet at the Mormon temple. Let's have our protests. So anyway, that's all I have on temple building for now. Back to you, RFN.